Well, hello from me, Leonard Wells, broadcasting on Saturday afternoon, 5th of December 2009, from Haslingden near Manchester in the UK. Looking at the week and the months gone by, the news story which appears most often and most frequently is probably climate change. And the problem with it is, because it isn't an exact science which you can prove black and white, there are what I call lots of amateur experts out there ready to give you their version of the truth, which always sounds plausible to them. And of course then you get the conspiracy theories abounding, which are rather like the femme fatales for the intellect. I'll just give you one example, and that is if you mention changing the way we use motor transport from petrol-driven or diesel-driven to battery-driven, you immediately get some people who say, but that won't help the climate because you're still producing carbon dioxide when you're making the electricity to charge the batteries. But of course that completely ignores the fact that the electric car is many times more efficient than the petrol or diesel driven car, which is incredibly inefficient, apart from the fact that it pumps out poison gas at the rear. I mean, are we crazy in the 21st century when we're talking about going to Mars? And you may not realise this, but a steel wheel on a steel rail, as in trams or trains, is 600% more efficient than a rubber-tired wheel on a road. The motor car, since its invention, has probably and almost certainly killed more people than all the wars in the 20th century. Probably 100 million people have been killed in road accidents, and 300 million, if not more, seriously injured. And the untold trillions that have been spent on building roads, hospitals to deal with the injured, insurance companies, petrol stations, to say nothing of the poison in the air we breathe. If you walked around with a cylinder of carbon monoxide gas and sprayed it in the faces of the children in their prams being pushed by their mothers in the street, you'd very soon be arrested and either be jailed or put in a mental hospital, and quite rightly too. Yet you can quite legally sit in your car with the engine running, pumping carbon monoxide onto a child's pram in the street. Nobody can touch you for it. And when you're driving along listening to some nice music on the motorway or the autobahn or the freeway or the highway, whatever part of the world you're living in, just think about this. The vehicle in front of you, which you may be very close to in a traffic jam, the air intake on your car is at the front. You are drawing in his exhaust fumes. So you're sitting in a nice little cloud of poison gas while you're driving along. Imagine. Have you ever thought about it? Really thought about it? If you don't believe me that it's poisonous, kneel down at the back of your car with the engine running and take a few deep breaths from the exhaust pipe. But if I were you, I would put a few pounds on your life insurance and make sure that your funeral plan is up to date before you do that, and make your will. You may have gathered that I'm anti the motor car. Well, definitely I am. Apart from the safety, just think what we could do if we didn't have motor cars. In the UK alone, vehicles, either buses, cars, lorries, trucks, cars, you name it, we burn a total of 5.5 billion litres of fuel, whether diesel or petrol, a year. I don't know what the world figure is, but it must be something like 2,000 times that. So that's 2,000 times 5 billion. That's 10,000 billion litres of fuel a year are burnt, and filthy gas is pumped out the back. And you think of the heat of all those engines, the hot water in the radiator and the engine itself. Just think, that alone must be helping to warm the planet, apart from the cost. Now, if we didn't have the motor car, what could we have? We could have a fabulous transport system. Or we could have tree-lined, flower-bedded streets with magnificent trams, quiet, warm in winter, cool in summer, safe, 24 hours a day. We could probably arrange it so that it was free to travel on them. We paid for out of our taxes. They would take you to the supermarket, which would be restocked by rail, or to the station where you could catch a high-speed train to another town, or if necessary to an airport if you have to travel across the ocean, vast distance. So that's just one aspect. Apart from having a fabulous transport system, the streets would be quiet. You could have the cleanest, freshest air imaginable. The children could play out, you could ride your bicycle safely. You could walk across the street without, you could step out into the street without being worried that you're going to be knocked flat by a truck. Well, you don't get long on YouTube, we only get 10 minutes, but it's just a dream at the moment of mine. And if you agree with me, and it's quite possible. Have you noticed why the automobile companies, when they advertise a new car, it's always shown in an open, empty landscape on its own? That, subliminally, is brainwashing us into believing that the motor car gives you the freedom of the empty, open road, which it blatantly doesn't, of course. They couldn't show it in its real light. So, think about it. If you agree with me and would like to join an organisation to help bring it about, contact me through YouTube. I'm also on Facebook. Just put my name in, Leonard Wells, W-E-L-L-S, and see what comes up. And we'll do something about it. Of course, the oil companies won't like it, and the companies that produce oil. So let's see where we can take it from there. I've got to go now because otherwise I'm going to be over the 10 minutes. Goodbye for now. God bless. Take care. Be careful crossing the road. All the best.